I never expected my daughter's simple lemonade stand would expose years of hidden discrimination in our suburban paradise, forcing me to finally reveal my identity as the city's mayor. But when our HOA president showed up at my door with an eviction notice, I had to ask myself, was I ready to risk everything to stand up against the very system I helped govern? Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe if you want more Karen and HOA stories. The smell of fresh lemons fills our kitchen as my daughter Sarah bounces on her toes, carefully squeezing each one like I taught her. Her smile could light up the whole neighborhood. And trust me, in Oak Ridge Estates, we could use some brightening up. I watch her add the sugar to her pitcher, measuring twice just to be sure. That's my girl, always doing things the right way. Daddy, do you think I'll make enough money to buy that science kit? Sarah asks, her dark curls falling into her face as she stirs. I help her brush them back, remembering how Jessica braided them this morning before heading to her hospital shift. Well, sweetheart, if you keep making lemonade this good, you might end up owning the whole store, I tell her, tasting a small spoonful. Perfect balance, not too sweet, not too sour, just like her. Through our kitchen window, I spot Mrs. Thompson adding yet another wind chime to her collection. The tinkling sound travels across our perfectly manicured lawns, mixing with Mr. Harrison's endless pressure washing symphony. These aren't technically allowed by the HOA rules, but somehow they never seem to get citations. Sarah grabs her homemade signs from the craft table. She spent all weekend on them, using her best handwriting and even adding little lemon drawings in the corners. 50 cents per cup. Proceeds go to Science Club supplies, they read. My heart swells with pride. 10 years old and already thinking about investing in her education. Let's check the city regulations one more time, I say, pulling up the webpage on my phone. Being mayor has taught me to always do things by the book, though I've kept that little detail to myself since we moved in last month. Sometimes it's nice to just be another dad in the neighborhood. As we set up the fold-out table on our front lawn, I noticed Patricia Windsor's curtains twitching next door. She's been the HOA president for 5 years, according to the welcome packet we received. The same packet that somehow got lost in the mail twice before finally arriving. Water-damaged and wrinkled. Tommy, the kid from across the street, runs over with his little sister Emma trailing behind. Can we be your first customers? He asks, digging quarters from his pocket. Sarah beams, carefully pouring 2 cups, while explaining her secret recipe involves an extra squeeze of lemon. More neighbors start trickling by, drawn by the children's laughter and the cheerful yellow balloons. Sarah insisted on adding to her stand. Mrs. Rodriguez from 2 doors down buys 3 cups, praising Sarah's entrepreneurial spirit in both English and Spanish. Her garden gnomes peek out from behind. Overgrown roses, another HOA violation that somehow goes unnoticed. I'm helping Sarah make change for a $5 bill when I spot Patricia power walking toward her car, her phone pressed to her ear, gesturing animatedly. Something in her expression makes me uneasy, but I push the feeling aside. We've done everything right. Permits checked, area cleaned, all safety measures in place. The afternoon sun beats down on our little corner of suburban paradise as Sarah's lemonade supply starts running low. She's already made enough for half of her science kit, and the pride in her eyes is worth more than any HOA approval could ever be. But as I help her pack up for the day, I notice Patricia's car pulling into her driveway. She steps out clutching her ever-present clipboard, and the look she gives our lemonade stand could curdle milk. There's something else in her expression, too. Something that makes me glad. I kept those certified copies of all our permit paperwork in my home office. Sarah's humming her favorite song as we carry the last cups inside, completely oblivious to the storm I can feel brewing. I've seen that look before in my years of public service. It's the look of someone who's about to make a simple situation unnecessarily complicated. Little do I know, tomorrow will prove just how right I am. And Sarah's innocent lemonade stand is about to teach everyone in Oak Ridge Estates a lesson about justice that no one will soon forget. The knock comes at 2 p.m. sharp, right when Sarah's lemonade stand is buzzing with the happy squeals of neighborhood kids. I'm helping her refill the ice bucket when I hear it. 3 loud, demanding knocks that make the front door rattle in its frame. Mrs. Patricia Windsor stands on our porch, her perfectly coiffed blonde hair gleaming in the afternoon sun. Her red designer heels match her lipstick, and that clipboard she's clutching might as well be a weapon. Behind her, I spot Mr. Harrison attacking his driveway with a pressure washer the 3rd time this week, while Mrs. Thompson's illegal wind chime collection creates a chaotic symphony from her porch. We need to discuss your daughter's... Patricia pauses, her nose wrinkling like she smelled something bad. Commercial enterprise. I maintain my calm, even as I notice her eyes darting past me to the family photos on our wall. Her lips tighten ever so slightly. I've seen that look before, in zoning meetings, in housing disputes, in all the places where people say one thing but mean another. It's just a lemonade stand, I explain, keeping my voice friendly. The kids are loving it. Patricia's French manicured fingers tap against her clipboard. Section 7, Paragraph 3 of our HOA bylaws clearly states, no commercial activities in residential areas. This includes pop-up refreshment stands. She emphasizes each word like she's talking to a child. Through the window, I watch Sarah proudly hand a cup to little Tommy from next door. His mom, Beth, gives her a high five. The same Beth who runs an unauthorized daycare from her basement, but somehow that's never been an issue for Patricia. I've documented multiple violations, Patricia continues, flipping through her papers. Unauthorized signage, noise disruption, potential health code violations. She looks past me at Sarah's colorful handmade signs with obvious distaste. Just then, Mrs. Wilson's unauthorized peacocks strut across Patricia's perfect lawn, leaving little presents behind. Patricia doesn't even blink. Instead, she pulls out her phone and starts taking pictures of our setup. I'm giving you a verbal warning today, she announces, her voice carrying just loud enough for the gathering neighbors to hear. That stand needs to be gone by tomorrow, or there will be consequences. I feel my jaw tighten but keep my voice steady. I'd like to see those bylaws, if you don't mind, and perhaps we could discuss the other activities in the neighborhood. Patricia's eyes narrow. Are you suggesting selective enforcement, Mr. Jackson? Her tone makes it clear she's daring me to say yes. Before I can respond, Sarah runs up to the door, her eyes bright with excitement. Dad, we made $50 today. Can we donate half to the animal shelter like we planned? Patricia's face does something complicated. A mix of surprise and something else I can't quite name. She watches Sarah for a moment, then turns back to me. Tomorrow, Mr. Jackson. The stand goes tomorrow, or the HOA board will need to take official action. As she click-clacks down our driveway, I notice her slipping her phone into her designer purse. Something tells me those photos aren't just for HOA records. Through our front window, I spot her walking past the Thompsons' house without a second glance at their collection of unauthorized garden gnomes that's grown to rival a small army. Jessica appears beside me, her hand finding mine. That woman gives me the creeps, she whispers. Did you see how she was looking at our family photo? I squeeze her hand, watching Patricia stop to chat with Mrs. Thompson, their heads close together as they both glance back at our house. I did. And I think it's time we did some research on our HOA's enforcement history. Sarah's voice carries from the front yard. Who wants the special rainbow lemonade? A cheer goes up from the kids and I can't help but smile. But as I watch Patricia's red heels disappearing around the corner, I wonder, how far is she willing to go to maintain her version of the perfect neighborhood? And what will I find when I start digging into those HOA records? The loud thud of the mailbox closing makes me jump. Through our kitchen window, I spot Patricia Windsor speed walking away in her designer workout clothes, her phone already at her ear. Something about her smile sends chills down my spine. I step outside to check the mail, and right on top sits a thick envelope with the HOA logo. My hands shake slightly as I tear it open, pulling out a stack of papers filled with legal words and bright red violation stamps. A bright yellow paper falls to the ground. It's a photo of Sarah's lemonade stand with big black X's marked across it. Inside, Jessica is helping Sarah count her earnings from yesterday's sales, an impressive $47 that our daughter plans to split between her college fund and the local animal shelter. The pride in Sarah's eyes turns to confusion when she sees my face. What's wrong, Dad? She asks, quarters still lined up in neat rows on our kitchen table. Before I can answer, my phone buzzes with notifications. Patricia has been busy. She's posted about our illegal business operation on the neighborhood Facebook group. Comments are already piling up. Some neighbors are sharing photos of other kids' lemonade stands from past years, all of them allowed to operate without issue. Funny how those stands were run by families that look different from ours. Through our window, I watch Patricia marching house to house with her clipboard, stopping only at certain homes. Mrs. Thompson's wind chimes are now playing a full symphony orchestra's worth of noise, definitely against HOA rules about noise pollution. But Patricia walks right past, her eyes fixed on our property as she snaps more photos. Maybe we should take a break from the stand, Jessica suggests quietly, but Sarah's face falls immediately. But Mom, Tommy's sister wants to learn how to make change like I do, and Mr. Jackson said he loves stopping by after his morning walk. Sarah's voice trembles slightly. She's been making friends for the first time since our move. I pull out my laptop and start digging through city ordinances and HOA bylaws. 20 minutes later, my screen is filled with tabs, property maps, permit requirements, previous HOA board meetings minutes. Something isn't adding up. The certified letter claims our commercial activity violates Section 703, but that section actually talks about holiday decorations. I mark the discrepancy with a sticky note. My phone rings. It's Marcus from the city planning office. Hey boss, just got a weird call from someone named Patricia Windsor. She's demanding information about your property and asking about revoking some kind of permits. Didn't know if you wanted to handle this personally. I thank him and hang up, my mind racing. Patricia doesn't know who I am yet. None of our neighbors do. We wanted Sarah to make friends based on who she is, not my position. But now, a knock at the door makes us all jump. It's Tommy from next door looking nervous. Sarah? My mom said. She said I can't buy lemonade anymore, Mrs. Windsor. Told her it's not allowed. His eyes dart to the ground. But I saved these for you. He quickly hands Sarah a bag of lemons and runs away before she can respond. Jessica puts her arm around Sarah's shoulders as tears start rolling down our daughter's cheeks. On my laptop screen, another HOA notification pops up. An emergency board meeting has been called for tomorrow evening to discuss quality of life concerns in Sector 7, our street. I close my laptop and look at my family. Sarah wipes her eyes and starts sorting her lemons, determined to make tomorrow's batch even better. Jessica squeezes my hand under the table. She knows that look in my eyes. The same look I had when I first ran for mayor, determined to make our city better. Outside, Patricia's heels click against the sidewalk as she approaches another house. Clipboard ready, but she's not the only one gathering evidence anymore. I pick up my phone and start taking my own pictures of selective enforcement, of ignored violations, of every double standard this neighborhood has quietly accepted for years. The letter from the HOA sits on our counter, its threats spelled out in cold legal terms. But they don't know who they're dealing with yet. Tomorrow's board meeting should be interesting, very interesting indeed. I just have to decide. Do I let them find out who I am? Or do I let them dig their own hole even deeper? I'm watching from our kitchen window as Tommy, our next-door neighbor's kid, walks up to Sarah's lemonade stand with his head down. Something's wrong. My daughter's face lights up at first. Tommy's been her best customer and biggest supporter since we moved in, but today is different. I'm sorry, Sarah. Mom says we can't buy lemonade anymore. Tommy mumbles, kicking at the ground. She said Mrs. Windsor told everyone at the book club that your stand is bringing down house prices. Sarah's smile crumbles, and my heart breaks. I want to run out there, but Jessica grabs my arm. Let her handle this, she whispers. We watch as our daughter takes a deep breath and pours a cup anyway. It's okay, Tommy. This one's on the house, because that's what friends do. I pull out my phone and start documenting everything. The neighborhood has changed in just 3 days since that warning letter arrived. The same people who waved at us every morning now hurry inside when we step out. Our Ring doorbell catches some neighbors taking photos of our house at odd hours. That evening, while helping Sarah pack up her stand, I notice Mrs. Thompson's 37 garden, gnomes watching us from across the street. The irony isn't lost on me. Those gnomes violate at least 3 HOA regulations. But Patricia Windsor hasn't said a word about them. Jessica calls me to her computer after dinner. Look at this, she says, pulling up the Oak Ridge Estates community forum. There's a whole thread about us, started by an anonymous user named Property Value Guardian. But the writing style is unmistakably Patricia's. Unauthorized business operations causing significant neighborhood decline. I read aloud. Multiple violations observed. Young children gathering unsupervised. Health code concerns. The comments get worse as I scroll. But then something catches my eye. A comment from Oak Ridge Mom 85, defending us. My kids love that lemonade stand. It's teaching them about business and friendship. Since when did we become so heartless? The next morning, we find a note in our mailbox. We support you. Many of us are afraid to speak up. Your real neighbors. It's unsigned. But I recognize Mrs. Wilson's handwriting. Our resident bird. Enthusiast whose backyard peacock sanctuary has somehow escaped. Patricia's scrutiny despite the noise complaints. I spend my lunch break at City Hall, quietly pulling property records. Patricia's targeting isn't random. Every HOA violation notice in the past year has gone to either new residents or minority families. The pattern is clear, but I need more evidence. That afternoon, I install security cameras, making sure they're within HOA guidelines. Sarah's stand is closed for the day, but I notice Patricia driving by 3 times, phone in hand. Each time she slows down to take pictures. The doorbell rings at sunset. It's Tommy's mom, Linda, looking nervous. I'm so sorry about earlier, she whispers, glancing over her shoulder. Patricia threatened to review our pending pool approval if Tommy kept buying lemonade. I don't know what to do. I invite her in, and she tells us everything. The HOA board meetings where Patricia targets specific homeowners, the secret Facebook group where she coordinates surveillance, The subtle threats to anyone who opposes her. While we're talking, my phone buzzes. Someone's uploaded a video to the community forum. Footage of Sarah's stand edited to make it look like kids are littering and being rowdy. The comments are flooding in, but something's off. The timestamps don't match. The shadows are wrong. I work in video production, Linda says, leaning forward. That footage is doctored. I can prove it. Jessica squeezes my hand under the table. We're not just fighting for a lemonade stand anymore. This is about something much bigger. As Linda leaves, we spot Patricia's car crawling past our house again. But this time she's not alone. 2 other HOA board members are with her, and they're carrying what looks like official documents. Should we tell them? Jessica asks quietly, watching them through the window. About who you are? I shake my head, pulling out my notebook where I've been documenting everything. Not yet. First, we need to understand how deep this really goes. Tomorrow's HOA meeting should be interesting. Sarah calls down from upstairs. Dad, can you help me make signs for tomorrow? I have some new ideas. As I head up to her room, my phone buzzes again. It's an email from an anonymous account. Mayor Johnson, I used to be on the HOA board. There's something you need to see about Patricia Windsor's real estate dealings. I'm helping Sarah clean her lemonade cups when I hear the loud clicking of heels on our walkway. Through our front window, I spot Patricia marching toward our door with 2 men in suits. Mr. Douglas and Mr. Peters from the HOA board. Her red lipstick matches the color of the folder she's clutching, and I can tell by her tight smile that she thinks she's won. The doorbell rings 3 times in quick beats. Sarah jumps, nearly dropping her stack of cups. Daddy, is she going to make us stop again? She whispers, her voice shaking. I squeeze her shoulder gently and open the door. Mr. Williams, Patricia announces, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. I'm afraid this situation has become untenable. She thrusts a paper toward me, her French manicure gleaming under our porch light. This is an official notice of eviction. You have repeatedly violated HOA codes despite multiple warnings. I take the paper, my hands steady even as my heart pounds. Behind Patricia, I notice Mrs. Thompson peeking through her curtains. Her illegal wind chimes silent for once. Mr. Harrison's teenage son is washing their 3rd car of the week in their driveway. Definitely against HOA rules about water conservation. Patricia, I say calmly, would you like to come inside and discuss this? I'm already pulling out my phone, opening my gallery of screenshots from the HOA's selective enforcement history. There's nothing to discuss, she snaps, her mask of politeness cracking. This is a family neighborhood. The way she emphasizes family makes my blood boil, but I keep my voice level. Jessica appears beside me, and I feel her hand slip into mine. It's interesting you mention family, I reply, pulling up a property map on my tablet. Because I've been doing some research. Did you know that every citation issued in the last 6 months has been to a minority family? And speaking of business violations, I gesture to her front yard, where her peaceful Patricia's yoga sign stands proudly. I assume you have proper permits for your home business? Patricia's face flushes red. Mr. Douglas shifts uncomfortably, suddenly very interested in his shoes. Mr. Peters clears his throat and whispers something in Patricia's ear. Sarah peers around my leg, her eyes wet but chin held high. My lemonade made $300 for the children's hospital, she says clearly. Miss Thompson told me your yoga class costs more than that for just one person. Patricia's mouth opens and closes like a fish out of water. That's when I notice the local news van slowly cruising down our street, right on schedule. I'd made a few calls after receiving their 2nd warning letter, knowing this confrontation was coming. Perhaps, I say, stepping onto my porch and forcing Patricia to back up, we should continue this discussion in my office. I pause, savoring the moment as I pull out my City Hall ID badge. At City Hall, I believe the Housing Commission would be very interested in reviewing these enforcement patterns. The color drains from Patricia's face so fast, I worry she might faint. Mr. Peters actually takes a step back, nearly tripping over our garden hose, the same one she'd cited us for last week. She stammers, her perfectly manicured hand clutching her throat. The mayor? Yes. I smile, watching the news van park across the street. And I think it's time we had a serious conversation about what family neighborhood really means. Patricia's perfect mask cracks as I slide my mayoral business card across the conference room table. Her fingers tremble as she picks it up, and I watch her carefully maintained composure crumble. Behind her, the 2 HOA board members, Mr. Roberts and Mrs. Bailey, exchange nervous glances. I've been quite interested in the HOA's enforcement patterns, I say, pulling out a thick folder I've kept hidden in my desk. My office has received some concerning reports about Oak Ridge Estates. Patricia tries to regain control, straightening her designer blazer. Mayor Thompson, I assure you these violations are clearly documented. Your position doesn't exempt you from... I raise my hand gently, cutting her off. Let's look at these documentation patterns together, shall we? I open my folder, spreading out a series of satellite images of our neighborhood. Each property is color-coded, with red marks indicating HOA violations. The pattern is impossible to miss. In the past year, there have been 47 violation notices issued. I explain, keeping my voice steady. 42 of them were sent to minority homeowners, who make up less than 20% of our community. Mrs. Bailey's face pales. She's new to the board, and I can see the realization hitting her. Mr. Roberts starts fidgeting with his tie. That's purely coincidental, Patricia protests, but her voice wavers. I notice her eyes darting to the door, like a cornered animal seeking escape. I pull out another document. I have here Mrs. Wilson's denied request to keep her bird sanctuary, cited as disrupting community aesthetics. Yet your own home yoga business operates without permits, advertising freely on our community board. The room grows thick with tension. Through my office window, I can see Sarah's lemonade stand in the distance, a small yellow dot that started this whole revelation. There's more, I continue, revealing printouts from the HOA's online forum. Private messages discussing property values, dropping due to certain elements moving in. Selective enforcement of noise complaints, required parking violations mysteriously, appearing after community cultural celebrations. Patricia's hands ball into fists under the table. You've been spying on private HOA communications? No, Patricia. These were submitted by concerned board members. Good people who've been afraid to speak up until now. I look pointedly at Mrs. Bailey, who straightens in her chair. I've worked too hard building this community to let... Patricia starts, but stops abruptly, realizing her words only dig her deeper. I lean forward, my voice quiet but firm. You built exactly the kind of community you wanted. Patricia, exclusive, unwelcoming, discriminatory. But that's not the community we're going to be anymore. Mr. Roberts clears his throat. Mayor Thompson, what exactly are you proposing? I pull out one final document, a draft of new, anti-discrimination guidelines for all city HOAs. We have two options. The HOA board can voluntarily restructure, implementing these new guidelines. Or my office launches a formal investigation into years of discriminatory practices. Patricia stands abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. This is blackmail! No, I respond calmly. This is justice, and it's been a long time coming. The silence stretches like a rubber band about to snap. Through the window, I see Sarah serving lemonade to Tommy and his mom, who'd been banned from the stand just days ago. The sight strengthens my resolve. You have until tomorrow to decide, I say, standing up. Choose wisely. As they file out of my office, Mrs. Bailey lingers behind. She turns to me, voice barely above a whisper. There's more, Mayor Thompson, much more. And I think it's time everyone knew the truth. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing since the video of Patricia's meltdown at City Hall went viral. I didn't mean for anyone to record it, but Tommy's mom happened to be there filing permits. When Patricia stormed into my office, demanding to speak to the mayor about troublemakers in Oak Ridge Estates, the look on her face when she realized I was that mayor, priceless. The emergency HOA meeting is packed tonight. Every seat filled, with people standing along the walls. Even Mrs. Thompson turned off her wind chimes to attend. I sit quietly in the back, watching Patricia squirm at the podium as she tries to explain away the folder of photos. I found, all targeting minority homeowners for violations, while ignoring dozens of clear, rule-breaking by others. The rules are the rules, she insists, her voice shaking as she clutches her designer handbag. We can't have children running unauthorized businesses. Behind her, projected on the wall, are photos of her yoga classes, Mrs. Wilson's book club sales, and Mr. Harrison's weekend car washing service, none of which ever received citations. Jessica squeezes my hand as the new board member. Mr. Rodriguez stands up. I have here, he says, holding up a thick stack of papers. 5 years of selective enforcement documents. Families of color received 85% of all violations, despite making up only 20% of our community. The room erupts. Patricia's face turns the same shade as her pink cardigan. She grabs her papers, knocking over her water glass in her rush to leave. This is a witch hunt, she shrieks, but her voice cracks when she sees the news van pulling up outside. Sarah tugs at my sleeve, whispering, Daddy, is Mrs. Windsor going to be okay? Even now, my daughter thinks of others first. I pull her close, remembering how this all started with her simple dream of selling lemonade. The next hour feels like a blur. The board votes unanimously to suspend Patricia, pending a full investigation. Mrs. Thompson volunteers to head the new Community Relations Committee. Even Mr. Harrison, Patricia's longtime ally, stands up to admit he felt pressured to report his neighbors under her leadership. But the real surprise comes when Tommy's mom reveals the spreadsheet. Turns out, she's been quietly documenting every incident for years, building a case we never knew we needed. Property values didn't drop because of lemonade. Stands or garden gnomes, they fell because Patricia's harsh policies drove away potential buyers. As the meeting wraps up, I notice Patricia's car still in the parking lot. Through the window, I see her typing furiously on her phone. Something tells me this isn't over, but for the first time, our community stands united. The next morning, Patricia's resignation letter arrives by email, copying every homeowner in Oak Ridge Estates. She claims personal reasons and health concerns, but we all know the truth. The local news runs a story about discriminatory housing practices, carefully avoiding names, but making the message clear. Sarah's lemonade stand reopens that weekend. The line stretches down the block, not just for her secret recipe, but to show support. Mrs. Wilson brings her peacocks. Mr. Harrison offers his pressure washer for the cleanup, and Mrs. Thompson's wind chimes play, a joyful tune nobody complains about anymore, as I watch our neighbors chat and laugh together, many meeting for the first time despite living doors apart. I spot a moving truck pulling up to Patricia's house. Her yoga students whisper about her relocating to a more exclusive community across town. Part of me feels sorry for her. But then I remember Sarah's tears, Tommy's mom's secret spreadsheet, and all the families who faced her quiet discrimination over the years. The new HOA board meets next week. Jessica and Mr. Rodriguez are drafting updated guidelines that focus on building community instead of policing it. Tommy's mom is organizing a monthly neighborhood fair where kids can sell lemonade, cookies, or whatever else they dream up. But something still bothers me. That look in Patricia's eyes as she drove away, like she had one last card to play. I double-checked the locks tonight, wondering what tomorrow might bring to our newly united, but forever changed community. The morning sun hits Sarah's new lemonade stand, now decorated with bright yellow, umbrellas and hand-painted signs from the neighborhood kids. I can't help but smile as I watch her organize her cups with the same determination she showed 6 months ago. Before everything changed, the stand isn't just a wooden table anymore. It's become a symbol of how our community fought back against unfairness and won. Tommy runs up to help Sarah set up, his mom Jenny close behind with a fresh batch of cookies to sell, alongside the lemonade. It's hard to believe this is the same family that once had to avoid us because of Patricia's rules. Now Jenny heads our weekly community market committee, turning every Saturday into a celebration of our neighbors' home-based businesses. My phone buzzes with a text from Jessica. She's finishing up the new community inclusion guidelines with our lawyer. The old rules Patricia used to target certain families are gone, replaced with clear, fair policies that everyone helped create. Looking at the document makes me think about all the evidence. We found folders full of selective enforcement notices, all targeting families who didn't fit Patricia's idea of perfect neighbors. The local news van pulls up for a follow-up story. They've been tracking our neighborhood's changes since the story broke about Patricia's resignation and the HOA's discrimination. Sarah waves excitedly. She's become a mini celebrity since her lemonade stand sparked this whole movement. The reporter, Maria, has become a regular customer, always asking for the mayor's daughter special with extra ice. Mrs. Thompson walks by with her wind chimes tinkling in the breeze. She's teaching Sarah about different musical notes, planning to help her create a soundtrack for the stand. Behind her house, Mrs. Wilson's peacocks strut freely in their newly approved sanctuary. The birds seem to know they don't have to hide anymore. The biggest surprise comes when Patricia's old assistant from the HOA board approaches the stand. She's been quiet since everything happened, but today she asks Sarah for a cup of lemonade. I wanted to say I'm sorry, she tells me softly. I saw what was happening but was too scared to speak up. Sarah, wise beyond her years, offers her a free cookie and says, "It's okay. We're all learning to be braver." A group of new families tours the neighborhood with our real estate agent. I overhear her proudly explaining how our community recently won an award for inclusive housing practices. The transformation hits me hard. 6 months ago, these same streets felt cold and unwelcoming. Now, kids play freely on front lawns. Garage doors stay open for impromptu chats. And every weekend brings a new reason for neighbors to gather. Jessica joins us at the stand, carrying a stack of flyers for next week's community potluck. She's glowing with excitement about the new programs we're starting. Mentorship for young entrepreneurs like Sarah, free legal clinics for homeowners, and monthly cultural celebrations. The fear that once kept people inside their homes has been replaced with a sense of belonging. My city council phone rings. Another neighborhood association wants to know how we transformed Oak Ridge Estates. They've heard about our story and want to prevent similar issues in their community. As I share our experience, Sarah sells her 50th cup of the day to the grandson of our oldest resident, Mr. Peterson, who now regularly brings his dominoes group to play at the tables we set up near the stand. The afternoon sun casts long shadows as Sarah counts her earnings, setting aside her usual portion for the community fund. She started to help other kids start small businesses. Tommy suggests they could teach other kids how to make lemonade, and Sarah's eyes light up with the idea. I watch them plan, remembering how this all started with a simple stand and a father's need to protect his daughter's dreams. A moving truck rumbles past, new neighbors, arriving where Patricia's house stood empty. These past months, Sarah immediately starts preparing a welcome basket with her special lemonade. Everyone deserves a fresh start, she says, reminding me once again how much I've learned from my 10-year-old daughter about forgiveness and courage. As the day winds down, I help Sarah clean up her stand, now a permanent fixture in our front yard thanks to the new HOA guidelines. She hugs me tight and whispers, "Daddy, do you think Patricia learned anything?" I look at our thriving, united neighborhood and realize sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest stands and the bravest hearts.